Hot on the heels of McDonald's McRib, now Burger King's declared war in the fast food industry by bringing back a classic Italian chicken sandwich. Jersey Joe back with you once again, and one thing I've learned about doing these web shows over the years, you guys love to talk about food. Well, you saw in the brew a few weeks ago, we talked about the McRib and its popularity. Well, Burger King is back with a classic sandwich, their Italian chicken sandwich, and when my pal Ryan Dixon over there joined me live from Hollywood Solid, he's like, hey, I want to go on your web show and talk about fast food. Ryan, you have been on all kinds of blogs talking about the McRib and other fast food. You've been on like NPR and other things, right? Like, what's your big claim to fame?
Yes. So I, like yourself, used to write for an amazing but deceased pop culture blog called Fierce and Nerdy, created by Ernesta T. Carter. And, I had originally written a blog post called Why the McRib is the Greatest Fast Food Item of All Time, Specialty Item. And I included stuff like it was the first crypto food, the idea that it was, again, this was around 2008 or 9. And so it was like when you would hear about it, you would have to find message boards or what have you. And I also saw it as a signifier for the era of when fast food, the 80s particularly, was the era when fast food was celebrated for being fake. So the idea that you could have a complete replica of real meat, of bones and stuff. And I got a call from the Wall Street Journal. They said they had read the blog. They wanted to talk to me as a McRib fan, kind of talking about McRib cultum. And then basically the Wall Street Journal story came out. It was huge. I get a call. I was at work at my office job, sitting in a cubicle from NPR, saying they wanted to interview me. So, when I look back at the sort of the big moments of my life, the McRib will always be there, not counting even the fact of being a child and sort of living in the 80s when it really was about the glories of fast food and celebrating its artifice. And not only that, but the themes around it. So I have a lot of very fond memories of eating the McRib, many with you.
So that's why you got really excited when Burger King all of a sudden brought back their Italian chicken sandwich without even really telling anybody.
To me, I know it was very interesting, and I do, we can talk about this in a little bit, but I do feel like that might be sometimes the crutch of Burger King. Is Burger King, probably for the last 30 years, has been searching for an identifier to separate themselves, not only from McDonald's, but, from Wendy's and now so many competitors. And it's odd to me that they don't quite get the product that they have. I mean, to me, the Italian chicken sandwich was originally conceived as a sort of trilogy of sandwiches. The international chicken sandwiches around 1988, late 80s, early 90s, as you had the Italian chicken sandwich, which you had your mozzarella and your marinara. Then you had the American chicken sandwich, was just their American chicken sandwich with lettuce, cheese, and mayo. And then they had the French chicken sandwich, the cordon bleu, which was the fried chicken, the ham, the Swiss cheese. And, for a kid from Western Pennsylvania Sheetz, the late, great Richland Mall, getting a taste of something that back then, felt exotic and new, where even Italian restaurants were something special in our area. It was really, special to go to Burger King for that, because McDonald's always had the Happy Meal and also the McRib and the nuggets and all this stuff, but Burger King never had an identifier. And I honestly don't know why. Burger King tries a lot of stuff. They're always throwing stuff on the wall, but outside of the Whopper, it doesn't seem like much stuff is stuck. And so I'm always curious why Burger King hasn't really leaned into the Taco Bell strategy of, let's just go for buzzworthy items every month. Or why not Burger King just, have your burger and then have everything else be sort of novelty items. I think Burger King plays, like you said, no one knew this was coming. The McRib has websites, everything dedicated to it. I love the Italian chicken sandwich, and you can barely find that much on it.
So wait a minute, though. Burger King has gone viral, and they have created sandwiches that caused buzz on the internet. Remember the Halloween Whopper? With the Whopper, the bun was completely dyed black, and then when it went out the other end, it turned a different viral color.
Well, I think that's, I think probably whoever headed that marketing campaign probably was fired. But I think, again, The problem is, to me, when fast food items really succeed, it's never seasonal. To me, it's you create an item that is unique to the marketplace. I think there's a creativity lacking in Burger King of trying to build a narrative around their menu. Same way Taco Bell, which is very controversial. A lot of people hate that they took so many things off the menu. But for Taco Bell, there's a narrative there about every month now. I don't know about you, but you log on to Taco Bell to see what is the new menu. McDonald's has the same stuff with once in a while a burst of something that it excites the people. Burger King, like we said, we had no idea that this was coming or how special the Italian chicken sandwich could be. They sort of just announced it. And I've seen it online because I had no idea online. And now I see these articles catching up. Why didn't Burger King release a YouTube documentary about the history of the Italian chicken sandwich or do stuff that creates a buzz for their customers to come?
So am I wrong by saying right now basically Burger King's declared a fast food war by bringing back this old sandwich?
Burger King thinks of them like competitors the same way the Cleveland Browns think of the Pittsburgh Steelers as their rivals. But on the other way around, McDonald's right now isn't worried about Burger King. And that's the problem because Burger King is just trying to sort of keep up versus saying, how can we define our restaurant? How can we define our chain in a different, unique way? The problem I have with Burger King, I think their food overall is quite good for the most part. The problem is the marketing is, like I said, I have a 6-year-old. She knows Burger King. She knows McDonald's. She knows Wendy's. She knows Taco Bell. What she asks for, the majority of the time, is McDonald's. Burger King, they're throwing stuff like the Italian chicken sandwich, but they don't do a marketing campaign. They don't have a vision that makes it be an event to go there.
So have you had one of the Italian chicken sandwiches yet?
I have. It's a very consistently amazing sandwich. My biggest problem with the Italian chicken sandwich is I just generally dislike the Burger King, that enlarged chicken patty. Overall, I think it's inferior, especially now. And again, why did they just go back to the old classic? Or again, instead of if you want to make going to your restaurant an event, why did they not have 2 versions of the Italian chicken sandwich? Because Burger King also has their fried chicken now that's, the competitor to Popeyes, that McDonald's has, that everybody has. So why not have 2 versions where they have their new fried chicken with the Italian style and the other one with it, or do one as the cordon bleu? It's just it's throwing out there. It feels like basically a little bit is like they realize they had surplus chicken and they're like, we need to do something. And someone's like, in 2 weeks, hey, let's just do Italian chicken again. Or they saw how big the McRib was. And this seems fast. This seems rushed. This seems prototypically Burger King, that is always fast, rushed, and it's not thinking it through in terms of a narrative level, in terms of a marketing level. And I love Burger King, but it really needs to step up its game.
Now, I like their older chicken sandwich better, the one that's on the long hoagie roll like that. The new one, the Chuck King or whatever, with the hand breaded, and they tout we make it ourselves, and it's hand breaded there in the restaurant. I don't think that's as good. And when I got that thing the one time, it was nothing but just tons of batter, whereas the old chicken sandwich still has its classic flavor. And there's different spices on the actual breading too that I think makes it so much better.
This is what's interesting, because I'll slightly disagree, because I think Burger King's fried chicken sandwich is a league above the McDonald's one. I think the McDonald's one's a disaster. It just is leaky. It's wet. It's always feels moist, like you got it from swamp water. But the problem is, you're not going to go. That's the problem, where it's Burger King is always playing catch up. Burger King should realize they're not going to compete with Popeyes on fried chicken. They're not going to compete with all these other places. I don't know if you have it in Jersey City, but in LA, we have 100 amazing fried chicken places. So do something interesting that makes your ideal eater seek you out during a high or drunken evening, or with your kids picking them up from school. Do something that makes you stand out, and Burger King is always playing catch up.
Let me tell you about my experience with this new Italian chicken sandwich. So when you contacted me, I ran out, I'm like, okay, so I had it delivered here because I have time to go out. First off, it's on the 2 for $6 menu. 2 sandwiches, $6. Not when you get it delivered.
Disaster!
Well,
why? Wait, why do you undercut it? It's literally like if Disney was like, what is their biggest movie coming up? Spider-Man. It's like if Spider-Man was like, we're going to release it, but we're going to also put it with this Krabby film or something. Like, you had the Italian chicken sandwich is one of Burger King's only marquee IPs. If we look at franchise IP, whatever, McDonald's has several, Taco Bell has many. The Italian chicken sandwich is almost Burger King's only. Then why do you undercut its value by just saying, hey, just buy it? We're going to make it as cheap as possible.
When you get delivery from Burger King, you can't get the 2 for $6 deal. So it's like $6 a sandwich. I get 2 of them.
I would never get delivery from Burger King. It's not worth it. I mean, it's
well, it is here because it's closed for here, but it ended up being $14 for those 2 sandwiches. Number one. And then the second thing about it, though, which was the real part, when I got it, there was hardly any sauce. There were 3 little strips of sauce, and then they put the mozzarella cheese on, and it looks like they ran it in a microwave for like a minute or two. The cheese was stuck to the paper, and we don't see the B-roll for the show I recorded of it. It wasn't very good, and it was dry. Like, you're talking about sandwiches being moist. Well, mine was terribly dry. I missed the days, the age you get that thing, and it was dripping with so much sauce. It was like my grandmother's, Sunday afternoon Italian dinner. Like, you get so much sauce, but they cheaped out. It didn't look good, didn't taste good, and I frankly don't want another one.
I'm sad to hear that because it's an important sandwich in my life. I think it's one of the great fast food items of all time. I think it really opened up a whole doorway to fast food IP. This is Burger King's fault because they don't have the quality control that McDonald's does, it seems. Again, it's the difference if you go to Disney World versus Universal Studios. Disney World, Disneyland, every little thing is perfectly themed. You get it. Universal or other amusement parks from your still amazing stuff, Kennywood, whatever, Knott's Berry Farm, you see the paint chipping. And that's the problem. It's like Burger King doesn't realize how special a limited sandwich they have. And so they're not treating it like it. It reminds me of recently an amazing Ridley Scott movie, The Last Duel, starring Adam Driver, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. Incredible movie that Fox/Disney just dumped in their marketing. They just did not know how to sell it. So they sold something that would seem very boring, very dark, very instead it was a very sharp, satirical, interesting, dynamic movie. And that's the problem. Like what you said, Burger King combining this as its own menu deal shows that they don't have a belief in this sandwich. They don't know how to sell this sandwich, and they're killing themselves. Taco Bell, my favorite fast food item of all time was discontinued last year whenever COVID. The double-decker Taco Supreme with no tomatoes. That Shaq was the first pitchman. They got rid of it. I have no doubt that within, probably the next year, they will bring back that sandwich. And I will know about it. They will build a marketing campaign that everyone believes in and is excited to go see.
All right, this is a brain buster. Let me ask you this one then. How much do you think is too much of a price point for an individual sandwich from a fast food restaurant?
The problem is, Joe, with this question for me is because I have a daughter, because I have a wife, because sometimes I'm a babysitter, because I'm usually paying for bulk amounts. I'm looking at fast food either for deals or if there's something I specifically want or the cheapest. My question, Jersey Joe, for you is like, what separates sort of fast food from fast casual? Or are there restaurants in between? Where is that price point that you just say, hey, I want something fast and cheap?
Well, for me, a fast food restaurant is something where you run in, you can get it out, take it out real quick. It's a meal. A fast casual is something more you're going to sit down. I think Arby's kind of crosses the line between the two of them. More like an Applebee's is more of a fast casual, more of a restaurant. But fast food, McDonald's, I expect to get my food, get it cheap, get in, get out, get home. That's where I'm at for it. And I expect those restaurants to be cheap. I don't want to spend any more than $5 on any one item at a fast food restaurant. Now, a meal's different, but one item, there's nothing on McDonald's menu, not a sandwich, not a shake, nothing. It should be above $5 because when you get to that point, that's not what your restaurant is about. And there's a restaurant right here at the train station, or the McDonald's right here at the pass station. A Big Mac is $7. I'm not giving you $7 for one Big Mac. I don't care where you're at. That should never be that high.
It's similar to us. That's why, to me, and I think this maybe is the key to McDonald's, success right now, especially during COVID, is they have substantially increased the prices of their specialty burgers items. The double quarter pounder with cheese went from like $4 to $5 to $6 to $7 to $8 right now. But what they haven't done is their core items, the McDouble, the spicy chicken, the regular chicken sandwich they have all stayed like $2 under. Same with the Diet Cokes. And I think that's one of the key successes why McDonald's has been so smart about it is they've raised prices in a lot of the specialty items, things, but they have, their limited menu is still probably the best for your bargain. The weird thing is, to me, about McDonald's, when we're talking about marketing, why the hell do you have your own fried chicken sandwich and you have your generic chicken sandwiches? And the spicy McChicken, which is, again, one of their $1 or $2 items, is pretty good. But the regular one's terrible. Their patties are awful. I just don't understand. And now, I don't know if you've seen it, is so many of these places have completely gotten rid of the grilled chicken option, which to me was one of the core ways to allow really fast food to expand. I mean, and maybe it's just my own nostalgia, but my best era of McDonald's was probably 7 to 8 years ago, where you had the wrap, you had the salads, and you also had the burgers.
As you know, my favorite fast food restaurant is Arby's. I think they do a great job with the marketing. They do a great job with the limited time only sandwiches. Their commercials are great. Like, their price point's good. So I think they've hit it right. They got a success. But then let's talk about Subway. I think there's a restaurant chain where you see that just completely kind of blew it all around. They got really expensive for what you get. The quality was terrible. Everybody loved the $5 footlongs. They got rid of that. So now they're trying to reinvent themselves, this whole new menu thing, by adding new sandwiches and things back. But when you go to Subway, I think you're slamming Burger King for quality. I think Subway deserves to really be slammed for their quality. It's pretty much slot. You're better off spending $1 or $2 more here in a metro area and just going to a deli and getting a real deli sandwich.
Well, also, Subway now has seen so many competitors that do what they do, but slightly better, too. Your summary of Subway is great. It had an identity. In the 90s, there weren't that many places you could get subs. And also, Subway had a variety. Obviously, the seafood and crab sub, which was one of my favorites, has a lot of lawsuits with it. And then slowly it became healthy. And like the Catholic Church, it ran into some problems with their spokesperson. The priest being in the Catholic Church, Jared being in Subway. And then it sort of lost its way because, suddenly, I think the big problem with Subway, honestly, is the lack of drive-thru. Subway, ironically, I think, they, because of their business plan, because it was an easy in, it tends to be in places that are kind of inconvenient to get in and out of, similar to Trader Joe's. I think Subway, had a deep fall in COVID, and like you said, they sort of, they lost their identity, and it's a good sign of losing your identity is when you're just trying to throw out a lot of new stuff or doing something brand new.
Yeah, I got to make a point on that as you're saying that right there, because that's my biggest thing. Subway pretty much, A, seems like they give a franchise to anybody. B, they're everywhere. And C, their employees don't know the special sandwiches. You'll watch a commercial for Subway. They'll show you this all new Italian pizza sandwich looks great. You walk into Subway, I asked to order that. They're like, what? What do you want? Chicken? And they never know their menu. And that's the problem.
I hate to criticize the workers who are amazing people, always nice. I've had the same experience in Subways where I saw something on the ad. They see something on the posters. I'll be like, I'll have that specialty sandwich. And they'll be like, what bread? And, and what cheese? And I'll be like, I don't know, because I just see this ad and I want to make it. And suddenly, to me, and I think that's one of the problems. Again, I don't know the depths of how it works, but from my understanding, the reason Subway was able to be so big because they kind of gave franchises to everyone. Where McDonald's and other places have a little more control on their franchises, Subway was like, if you can pay our rent, we'll give you a franchise. And that hits hard with quality control.
All right, Ryan. So one thing, when I posted on social media, you and I are going to be talking about fast foods. I've learned that people love to talk about food online. I got a couple emails and some viewer comments, so let's take a couple of them right now and pick your brain. So here's the first one. Jason says, yes, this. He was excited that the Italian chicken sandwich is coming back. That's his comment. But April G702, she said she never heard of it. So, Ryan, that goes back to you talking about how, that's a throwback thing. It's been gone for so long out of Burger King. Maybe some people forgot. But here's a follow-up question to that. It's a Real Treats Tweets. He says, yes, I wish they'd bring back the French one as well, which is kind of their take on chicken cordon bleu. So maybe Burger King waited too long to bring these sandwiches back that some people, that are young, that were maybe in elementary school at the time, don't remember.
I think it was 1991, like I said, late 80s, early 90s, where Burger King released the international chicken sandwiches. And that's how I remember it as the Italian chicken, the French chicken, the American chicken. Don't forget, this was sort of the end of the Cold War, and we were kind of trying to find unity here. And to me, I have no idea, aside from just pure cheapness, why Burger King has not released the cordon bleu again, because to me it is an equal of quality of the sort of the Proustian Madeleine sending you back in time as the Italian chicken. And it might be more effective because, there's 100 places you can get an amazing, Parmesan sandwich, delis or whatever. There's very few places you can get an amazing cordon bleu sandwich.
And then we have one more question from a viewer, so let's check this out. It's a Starman asks, he says, I just had one referring to the Italian chicken sandwich. Not as good as I remember. It's cool if they brought it back, though. What do you think will be next? Good question. What do you think will be next? What kind of throwback sandwich can we bring back? I've got a couple ideas.
I want to hear your ideas first, Joseph.
I had three that came to my head, and number one, Burger King did bring it back a few years ago. It's their version of the White Castle slider. They're burger buddies. They were like little mini cheeseburgers. You get 2 or 3. You could tear them apart. They were perfect because they were about the same size of a hamburger, but you could, as you were driving, they were easy to eat. Those were kind of nice. The second thing that I do miss, they also had table service for a while. So the only reason why I say bring that back, because if they were behind, it only was available during dinner hours, but if they were running way behind in the kitchen, they'd give you like an order of popcorn and you could go sit down and they would bring it out to you. So I'm not saying I want that all the time, but if there is...
love the Burger King popcorn. Yeah. I love the Burger King popcorn. I totally forgot about that. That was amazing. That was buzzworthy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, so even, like, I know if I'm going to have to wait, like, 2 or 3 minutes for my food, just give me the popcorn on the tray and sit down and have somebody bring it out to me. I like that. Some restaurants do it. And here's the one, I bet you don't even remember this one, and I miss it a lot. Wendy's needs to bring back the super bar. Remember when buffets were big in the 80s? KFC had a buffet. Wendy's had a buffet. So, like, $5, you've got a tray, just go up there and load up. It was great.
I fell in love with the Wendy's super bar before I fell in love with the rest of Wendy's. I remember the places we would go to. The Super Bowl was amazing. And to your point of what should come back, what should not, I think what you're saying is what I've been thinking. If we look at the culture at large, what do we see? Is IP that remembers still sells. From Star Wars to Marvel to, you can just keep going and going and going. But to me, the question is, like, why hasn't the fast food and retail world seen this? Like, why is McDonald's still leaning away, and Burger King leaning away from the play places? Like, now, again, because for a long time, there was a low curve about, young kids. Now there's more and more young kids. Why isn't Burger King saying, we have this BK guy, the Burger King? Why are they doing a cartoon with Burger King? Why is McDonald's doing play places and bringing back Ronald McDonald? Because I think they're so afraid of that awful era where it was just like anti-fast food all the time. And to me, it's like that is over. Every parent I know has a real nostalgia and love for fast food, and they know how to deal with it now, and every kid still loves it. And so to me, it's like, bring back the future. Build into it where you create a themed environment. That's what parents want. That's what people want. Do shit that will make people say, I have 100 different choices. I want Burger King because it's not about just like people tired going from work and wanting something fast anymore. They want a reason to go to your location.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, I'm really hungry now after we talk about all this. We covered a lot of good points. So final thoughts then. What do you think the fast food industry should do next? Like what's the next step for them to make money for themselves and to keep the consumer or a hungry person like me happy?
If I were a consultant for the fast food industry, I would say lean into the past. In the same way that Disney has bought up every type of IP because they know people our age love it. People younger will discover it. And our kids, we will want them to be obsessed with it because it's a reality for us. Bring back playgrounds. Bring back themed entertainment. Why doesn't McDonald's or Burger King in their restaurants have a TV screen that has their own IP? Ronald McDonald, the Burger King, on adventures. And I think that the theming of fast food should only grow. And I think that each chain needs to realize that because of the competition, you need to have one or two identifying markers of your theme, of your worldview, outside of your major burgers. So, Big Mac, Whopper, whatever, those will always be there. But what is the other reason we need to go to your restaurant?
The one thing I would add to that is, the other part of that is it's all about social media now and getting your word out and free advertising. Social media for these companies is free advertising. So one thing I think they should do is there's always talk about, like, you can go, you've seen on my web channel here where I went with Joel over to the UK and we tried, the UK McDonald's, what's different, the Mexican Burger King. Why don't they bring back for like a week or two a limited time crazy sandwich I can get like in Korea that I can't get here? Maybe we won't like it, but it's something you can blast over social media quick and it's like you got 2 weeks to try it and then that's it. It's gone. That would be my big suggestion.
That's
go
brilliant.
Also for that moment.
That's amazing and brilliant. Again, in the same way what you just said is, on Netflix, what has been their biggest show basically ever? Squid Games. In the same way, why doesn't a Burger King or a McDonald's do these sort of pop-up events? In LA, and I'm sure in New York City, pop-up restaurants, events are big. Why doesn't McDonald's do in, a city or wherever, just for a moment, their lobster roll, like for a week? Why don't they try those things to get people to go? Because to me, like you said, that is, any of that kind of innovation. And we live in an international society. We live in a society where we know what is the most popular thing in Korea, in Russia, in China, in all the countries in Africa, in Europe, in South America. Why not take advantage of that and, give us, because like you said, I am always on YouTube and amazed by what you can find in the McDonald's in any, different countries, or a Burger King. Embrace that. They have the infrastructure to do it, or if they don't, learn to do it, because then you create an environment where your customers, where your clients are coming back every week and wanting to come back. And I think that's going to be important. It's the loyalty to the brand, or the reason to embrace the brand.
And speaking of loyalty, Ryan, you've been a good and loyal friend for many years. It's so great to have you chat live here about fast food. I've seen you consume many double-decker taco supremes with no tomatoes. I know that. So thanks for chatting about fast food here.
Bring it back. I want it again.
Thanks for joining us and chatting about Fast Food Live. And you, my viewers, you want to be old friends? Click that like and subscribe button down below for all the fun here on the Jersey Joe 50 YouTube channel. We're friends. We hang out here each and every week. All right, I don't know about you, but I am damn hungry right now and might go get some fast food. Jersey Joe here saying thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, I hope.